Was good. Shalom, peace to the brothers and sisters, everybody that's rocking with me. This is Black Authentic Truth. I'm Thawahgabar, and you already know what it is. Listen, there's some things that's been happening, current events that I want to talk about, particularly abortion. This is very, very controversial. Okay, let me make sure everything is on a go. My last live uh, audio was jacked up. So I want to make sure we rocking and rolling. And it looks like we're rocking and rolling. Now, abortion. Now, Arizona just revisited a law from 1864 where abortion is illegal. Now, I seen a video on it was D.O. Hughley on Instagram. And in that video, it was explaining, but also in the comments was very, very telling. You had a lot of Black people, in particular Black women, that were saying, my body, my choice. The things that, typical Karens say. They were saying, my body, my choice. They were talking about the Republican Party because Republicans are the ones who revisited this law. So it was like, it's the Republicans, it's this, it's that. And I want to give my thoughts on abortion and give some facts, some statistics on abortions. Okay, now when you think about it from a perspective of how in the Black community did we start to do abortions? How did that come to be where now you have, I'll even say Black feminists? Like, how did these things come to be? It's very clear. It's as simple as you being a people who are enslaved and later you're released. And then you think your way out is to live like the people who previously had you enslaved. So, case in point, when you look at politics, Black people are strong on politics, Democrat, Republican. Black people are steadfast in that. Black people are steadfast in religion, Christianity. Black people look at their way to survive and to live as those things that the dominant society does. That is the way. So politics, whether you Democrat or Republican, Christianity, Catholicism, these are the ideologies and the trains of thoughts that we follow in order to survive and be successful. At least that's what we think, how we will be successful, or how we will become a better people. We look at we'll become a better people through politics if we just go out and vote. Black people have been voting for I don't know how many years, and our condition has not changed. We get the Black community gets crumbs compared to what other communities get when ballots are cast. Okay. But when you look at abortion, many people don't know the history of abortion. Abortion, or should I say Planned Parenthood, who is the forerunner in abortion, was founded by a lady named Margaret Sanger. You need to do your research. Maybe you don't know. Maybe you don't know who Margaret Sanger is, but you do need to do your research. Do your research on Margaret Sanger, and I'll give you a brief synopsis, a brief history on Margaret Sanger. Margaret Sanger was a white woman in the early 1900s that she went to Nazi Germany and she learned from eugenicists. Now, eugenicists are people that deal in the science of population control, how to control the population, how to weed out undesirable people, and how to make a superior race, how to make a master superior race. And what she learned from these Nazi scientists, these eugenicists, and came back and created Planned Parenthood, or the act of aborting a child. Now, Margaret Sanger said that they wanted to get rid of the Negroes, not just Negroes, I'm going to be fair, also undesirable people, like people in the LGBT community, people who were born with mental and physical deficiencies. She wanted to weed those people out of society with abortion. That was her plan. Now, when it came to the Black community, what Margaret Sanger said is that we don't want the word to get out to the Black community that we want to exterminate the Negro population. She didn't. So she felt that it would be better to deliver it through Black leaders and pastors. That's how the message of aborting a child got to the Black community, through the religious leaders and the regular Black leaders. So it was a very crafty and cunning thing that they did with the Black community. Now, she is the founder of Planned Parenthood, and even Planned Parenthood today tries to distance themselves from her comments because she's the founder. And, Planned Parenthood is $1 billion business that, gets all this funding from governments to go into, poorer communities and help people plan their parenthood, or probably not even have a child, or find different ways to either abort or sterilize a woman, hysterectomies and things of that nature. So Planned Parenthood is trying to distance themselves, but this is how abortion came about. Now, when you think about this Arizona law in 1864, a year before the slaves were legally freed, meaning in 1864, this law that they're going back to, Black people were still legally slaves. So for a Black woman to be upset about this when this was never your fight, this was never your desire, is insane to me. Black women were in slavery in 1864 when this law was enacted in Arizona that it was illegal to get an abortion. At that time, what a Black woman had to worry about was going out to the fields and work in the fields, and somebody come and take your baby. Somebody come and snatch your child and feed them to alligators as alligator bait, or use them for alligator bait, or your child being just snatched from you and sold to another plantation. This was the reality in 1864, where now a lot of these sisters today are upset about this Arizona law that they're revisiting. It's not in effect now, but a lot of sisters are upset about this abortion law. But in the time period where this comes from, you didn't have abortion on your mind because it wasn't your culture. You was just trying to survive in a place where you were enslaved, and you didn't know if your child was going to be taken from you or not and sold to someone else, or if your child was going to be stolen and used as alligator bait. There's a story with the Muse brothers. There were two brothers that were born that were twins. They were albino, the Muse brothers. These brothers, while their mother was working in the plantation out in the field, somebody snatched the brothers up. And guess where they ended up at? Because they were albino, the Muse brothers. They ended up in a circus. So this was the reality of Black women in 1864 when this abortion law was passed. Your reality wasn't, oh, I don't know if I want to keep it or not. I don't know if I'm not making enough money. I don't think the father's going to be in the children's life. All of the things that women say today, the reasons for abortion. Well, those reasons did not exist in the Black experience. It did not. I'm sorry, it did not. So peep game, understand where you stand and where you was at a time where your ancestors was enslaved. Now, many times people say there's so many reasons why people say that women should get an abortion. And one of the number one reasons is what? It's rape. They say rape, which is sexual assault, or they say incest, or they say, what's the other one? Like a physical problem. Maybe the woman might, pass away if she goes through with this pregnancy, which I understand. I totally understand. I'm not taking away from, none of the medical issues that a woman might have when she is pregnant. But here's the thing. I got some statistics, and we're going to look at some of these statistics, okay? But I had to lay down the history of Planned Parenthood and abortions, and how did Black people come to believe the way their oppressor believes about an abortion, meaning we never even conceived to have that thought of not having a child. Like, even if it was about money, listen, we came from slavery. That's the worst circumstance you could ever be in financially. From a status point, from a financial point, just from a livelihood, that's the worst situation you can be in. And that reminds me, there's a story with a sister on a plantation. Every time she would have a newborn child, the master would take her child and sell it to another plantation. So she would get to have the child, rear the child a little bit while it's an infant, and then the master would take her child. Finally, it came to one pregnancy when she had the child that she took the life of that child so that the master couldn't take this one. That's not abortion. That's just a sister going through it and being oppressed and terrorized and in slavery. And that was her reaction to her newborn child's being taken every time she had one. That's one instance that I know of. Now, getting back to the reasons for abortion, I'm gonna pull it up real quick. Give me a second. Give me a second. And this is going to blow your mind. There's many statistics on the reasons why women get abortions. And remember what the pro-abortion people say. They say a woman should be able to get an abortion because of rape, which, I'm not arguing against that, because of incest, and because of a physical problem, or she could lose her life during this pregnancy. So let me grab this real quick. So let me blow it up. And I might want to come up a little bit. So these are the reasons, and you can look this up yourself. These are the reasons why women get abortions, okay? Let me turn this off. These are the reasons. Number one is rape or incest. It's 0.3% of abortions is because of rape or incest. This is less than 1%. Number two, 0.2% life or major bodily function, meaning something, this pregnancy could take your life, or you have a major bodily function that is malfunctioning because of this pregnancy. Number three, 1.3% fetal abnormality. A fetal abnormality, meaning the baby is born with a defect. Maybe the baby is going to be born with a lung outside or a heart outside of their body or something like that, or maybe more than one limb. Number four, 2.5% physical health. Number five, 95.7% of abortions are done because of elective and unspecified reasons, meaning no reason at all. It's just because a woman can do it, she's doing it. Now, unspecified reasons, what falls under that is maybe a woman feels that she can't afford the baby. Maybe the man is not going to be there for the baby. Maybe she feels as though she's not going to have enough money to take care of the baby. Maybe she wants to, pursue her career instead of having a baby. Maybe she's not ready to be a mother. This falls under the category of elective or unspecified reasons for abortion. That's 95% of abortions are just because a woman has the option. So everybody is looking at the reasons why a woman can get an abortion, but nobody is looking at what do women say when they are getting abortion, what is the reason? What is the actual reason? The numbers don't lie, and the things that they say, pro-abortionist people say, is the main things that are less than 1% of all abortions, which is crazy to me. And to use that is to say, is almost like when people say black men are not good fathers in this day and age, when 9 years ago the study came out to show that black fathers are better fathers than all other races, but nobody even pays attention to the statistics. They just go with how they feel and what they always heard. The same with this abortion thing. They just go with what they feel and what they always heard. Nobody pays attention to the statistics, right? Now, is it murder? Many people say no because it's not a life. They say no, in a certain gestation period, it's not a life, so it's not murder. It's not a fully developed person, so it's not murder. But here's the thing: if there was a situation where a woman that was known to be pregnant was unalived or something like that by someone, they would call that double homicide, as though it is another life there. This is one that you really need to think about. They say it's no life, right? But if they was to go to another planet and they find one little drop of water, what would they call that? They would call it life. They find one little speck of water, they find a little piece of fungi somewhere. They say, "Oh my goodness, we found life on another planet." But a developing fetus is not a life. That's something to think about. You know what I mean? That's something to think about. So at the end of the day, those are my thoughts about abortion, and those are some statistics, some real facts that I just laid out. Those are some real facts that you can go look up yourself. Now, knowing everything I just said, everything I went over, the history, Margaret Sanger, Planned Parenthood, the statistics. Here's another thing. Can you be pro-black and pro-abortion? That's a question. Can you be? My answer is no, you cannot. Why do I say that? Because if you're all about the 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 prospering of the black community, of the black family, then how can you be pro-black if you're pro-abortion, if you're pro uh uh taking the lives of black people? Besides homicides and regular diseases that black people suffer from, abortion is the number one killer of black people. It's the number one aliver of black people. Number one. And we've been duped to start to think as though this is culture, should be part of life, when this wasn't a part of our lives. This wasn't a part of our culture where we came from. This is the West. And knowing the history of Margaret Sanger and her wanting to exterminate black people and use pastors and black leaders to push abortion into our community, it should change your mind. To any smart person, any person with an ounce of common sense should look at that and think about it and realize that we're living a way that is contrary to how we used to live. You know what I'm saying? We're living a way that it's unnatural. Now, what's the root of all of this? What's the root of the problem? Like, we're talking about abortions, we're talking about women having the ability to go and have an abortion, but what's before that? We're talking about women having a choice with their bodies, and I agree, everybody should have a choice what to do with their bodies. But I think the choice is before abortion. I think the choice is opening your legs or not. That's the choice that I see. I think that we need to teach our children, for the next generations, moral discipline, and not sleeping and having casual sex with everyone. That's this whole problem. That's where it's all coming from anyway. Because if you make the right choice the first time, whether man or woman, you won't find yourself as a man asking a woman to abort a baby because you're not ready. Or you wouldn't find yourself as a man asking a woman not to abort a baby. Vice versa, you wouldn't as a woman be trying to abort a baby for your career, or because you feel you ain't ready, or you don't think the father is going to be in the baby's life. If you take your time and have some discipline and not think that casual sex is okay, then we wouldn't even get to the part about abortion. We wouldn't even have that discussion. That would not even be an issue. But Black people, we all are sexually undisciplined, and we have not been taught right. We've been taught to just be casual and lay with anything moving. Lay with any man that makes you smile. Lay with any woman that has a nice body and a nice smile. And this is what get us jammed up. This is what get us effed up. This is what gets us in a situation where we're having multiple abortions, or you in a situation where you don't want to have a baby. You don't want the woman to have the baby because you're not ready. But you're doing the thing that babies come from casually. We're doing the thing as though babies don't come from having sex. That's irresponsible. Also, it makes women look like they're little girls and they can't make a responsible decision in that time, in the heat of the moment. They have to be saved by an abortion or by the day after pill or the plan B or whatever. They have to be saved. They can't make a rational decision in the heat of the moment. They can't say no. They can't say, let's use some contraceptives, some protection. None of that factors into nothing. It's just they should be able to have unsolicited casual sex, and if they get the choice to abort the baby, why not just keep your legs closed? That's easier. You save yourself from that, and you keep your integrity and your honor as a woman. You know what I mean? So that's what I got on that, man. That's what I got on that. And I got one more video I want to go into. I'm going to drop that. Got one video I want to speak on. And we're going to rock and roll. Put this video up.
Have I not taught you any better? Mom. What are you doing here?
Sorry, Mom. This girl rode a hoverboard to a random dude's house.
I'm here with the mother of Sasha. Have you talked to Sasha about not talking to people online and stuff like that?
We talk about it all the time.
So we made a fake profile as a 15-year-old boy, as you know. His name is Jackson. Let's text her the address and see if she'll come and meet this guy, you know?
She will not meet him.
Right now, she actually just texted him. Let's see what. Be there in 10 minutes, walking over now. Let's get set up.
So they just tricked this woman's daughter and said that they're acting like somebody online. The mother said she's not going to respond. She did respond, and she's going to meet this fake profile, this guy behind this fake profile.
She said, I'm 1 minute away right now. All right, so go down there right now.
Where are you? Come in. Follow me.
That's what I want to know. This could have gone a lot worse. Have I not taught any better.
Mom.
What are you doing here?
I'm sorry, Mom.
What are you sorry about?
I'm sorry.
Sorry
I
for
didn't
what?
know you would be.
Why? What are you doing here? What are you doing here?
I didn't know that.
Have you lost your mind? This could have gotten a lot worse.
You know who that profile was of Jackson? It was us. We made that. We wanted to test you and see if you'd actually show up.
And like an idiot, you could have got.
Yeah, man, that's rough right there. That's a hard lesson right there. Like, this happens a lot. Like, there's so many young Black sisters that are missing. So many profiles you see, have you seen my daughter? And they post their teenage daughter from the ranges of what, 13, 14, 15, 16 on Facebook, on Instagram. Have you seen my daughter? And I think that without fathers in the home, our children are prey. Our daughters are prey, especially our daughters are prey. And you see how gullible she was. Her mother said she wouldn't do it. She did it. She did it. She did it. Now, if this was some weirdo, her mother would have never seen her again. Never seen her again. You know? And it's just so sad that we're not recognizing this. I did video like probably, what else, like 5 years ago about the missing Black women, girls, and even boys that are missing without a trace. Like, there are people that are actually preying on our people. And if you don't put the things in place to teach your child, to keep your daughters in check, then this is what's going to happen. There's so many young girls that's missing, and it's sad. It's really sad. No one knows. No, like, it's not just missing and they find them. They don't even find these girls deceased. They just don't find them. And so I think about, like, damn, these young women, teenage girls, somewhere in somebody's basement, you know, being sold as probably sex slaves, or just, you know, in somebody's basement while they're being terrorized. And it's because they met somebody online. They never was taught that you can't smile and engage with everyone in public. You can't be places by yourself in public and think you can move freely as a woman. You are looked at as prey. Our sisters are looked at as prey by everybody. So, you know, the atmosphere in our community, how we go back and forth. Just think about the atmosphere in other races that are preying on Black women, that are preying on Black girls. Like, this could have went way wrong, way left with this little girl, way left. And I know it scared the hell out of her. And I'm sure she learned her lesson. But for her lesson, there's thousands of other little girls, young teenage girls, that don't realize this, how much danger they are in by talking to random people online, trying to meet up with random people online. Man, I pray you understand. I pray that you get it. You got a little sister, you got a daughter, man, get on them. Show them the ropes. Teach them. Show them. You know what I'm saying? Show them this. Give them scenarios where the scenario ends bad, so they understand what time it is. This is not no game. Meeting people online and trying to meet up with people and just going out anywhere by yourself. It's not a game anymore. There are people that are preying on young Black women, young Black girls and boys, teenagers. There are people that are preying on our people. And nobody is raising a red flag and saying, look at this. A story came out that was years ago where it said there's 100,000 Black women missing without a trace. Nobody gives a damn. So we got to give a damn. Or you will continue to see people post on social media, have you seen my daughter? She hasn't been home in 3 days. Have you seen my son? Teach your children the truth. All right. So that's all I got for y'all today. I'll be back next Sunday, Lord allow, and we'll get it in. With that, this is Black Authentic Truth.